Ni'n mynd i ddechrau. So, croeso i Ysgol Llandegfan. A heddiw, i ni wneud ein gweithdy ola rithiol gyda'r Broject Bylbiau'r Gwanwyn i Ysgolion. So, hwn yw sesiwn pedwar, lle ni'n cyfrannu at newid a ni'n creu addewid dros y blaned. Gyda fi heddiw mae Meg. So yn gynta, enw fi yw Daniel a dwi'n gweithio ar gyfer Amgueddfa Cymru. Nes i dechrau'r prosiect hyn gyda ysgolion 20 mlynedd yn ôl. A mae Meg gyda ni a hi sy'n arwain y prosiect a hi yw'r athro ardd ar hyn o bryd. So, shwmae Meg?
Helo pawb. Diolch am dod unwaith eto.
So, tro diwetha nathon ni edrych ar sut roedd ni fel pobl wedi creu llygref mewn ffordd, sut ni wedi creu newid yn y hinsawdd, sut mae pethau ni'n wneud yn achosi newid yn hinsawdd. A nawr ni'n mynd i edrych ar beth ni'n wneud pob dydd, beth allwn ni'n wneud i wella sefyllfa. Jyst i atgoffa chi, ni'n recordio'r sesiwn yma a dyle mics a camrau chi fod bant. Mae pawb wedi wneud, so da iawn pawb. So heddiw, byddwn ni'n chwilio chydig o wahanol bethau. So yn gynta, edrych ar beth yw all-troed carbon. Falle chi wedi clywed am hwn o blaen, neu y gair carbon footprint yn Saesneg. Sut gallwn ni leihau ein hôl-troed i helpu lleihau newid yn y hinsawdd? A sut gall eich ysgol helpu hefyd? Okay. So, tair peth fyna. Mae'r Broject Bylbiau'r Gwanwyn i ysgolion, chi gyd yn cymryd rhan yn hwn, a mae hwn yn darn bwysig o monitro beth sy'n digwydd i natur yng Nghymru yn ystod yr hinsawdd yn newid. So ni'n mynd i edrych nôl ar un o graffiau nathon ni edrych arno yn y sesiwn diwetha. So falle chi'n cofio dros yr 20 mlynedd hyn, ni'n gweld bod y tymheredd yn mynd lan tymau bach. A chi'n cofio Meg bod y tymheredd, mae ddim jyst mynd syth lan, mae wahaniaeth pob flwyddyn, wahaniaeth naturiol, ond os ni'n edrych ar y trend line yma, y tuedd, i ni'n gweld bod e yn mynd lan, a chi, plant ar draws Cymru, ar draws y ddeyrnas Unedig sydd wedi recordio hwn. So, i ddechrau, chi'n wneud job yn rili dda o helpu ni deall beth sy'n digwydd yn yr hinsawdd. So, da iawn chi gyd. So, nesa, ni'n mynd i sôn am beth yw all-troed carbon. So, mae all-troed carbon yn mesur holl noion tŷ gwydr, mae eich gweithreddoedd, so popeth chi'n wneud bob dydd Meg, yn achosi ar atmosffer ein planed, okay? So, dim un o ni yn mynd mas a eisiau creu y problem hyn, chi'n modd? Ond stwff bach ni'n wneud yn bywydau ni yn effeithio ar y planed. So, be ni'n edrych arno tro yma yw deall y pethau hynny a gweld os ni'n gallu newid pethau. So, pethau bach weithiau yn wneud wahaniaeth mawr i'r planed. Okay? Nawr, y ffordd orau i gweithio mas eich all-troed carbon yw defnyddio cyfrifrannell carbon calculator. Nawr, yn anffodus, does dim un Cymraeg ar gael sydd yn addas i plant. So, ni'n mynd i wneud y darn yma yn Saesneg, oherwydd byddwn ni'n darllen yn Saesneg, A byddai'n mynd yn hollol confused os dwi'n darllen yn Saesneg a siarad Cymraeg. So gobeithio bod hwnna'n iawn 'da chi. Byddwn ni yn siarad tymed bach yn Cymraeg hefyd. So heddiw mae Meg mynd i fod fel guinea pig i ni. Mae hi mynd i ateb cwestiynau am eich fywyd. So mae'n, chi'n mae Meg yn bod yn hollol onest gyda ni. So diolch am hynny, Meg. A byddwn ni'n mynd trwyddo cwestiynau dy gilydd, a byddwch chi'n gweld wedyn y taip o pethau sy'n wneud wahaniaeth, a wedyn byddwn ni'n gweithio ar y dduned neu pledge personol. Okay? So, na i mynd i'r carbon calculator. So mae hwn yn cymryd tua 5 munud, ond achos byddwn ni'n siarad am pethau fydde fe bach yn mwy. A newn ni yn y Ddeyrnas Unedig, so na i ddechrau'r prawf.
Lovely.
So, ni'n mynd i mynd bach yn Saesneg now. So, hi, my name is Climate Bot, and I am programmed to help you become a climate hero, Meg. So, I'm going to type in your name here. Okay. So, tro yma, dwi jyst eisiau i chi yn y dosbarth nawr i gwrando i'r cwestiynau a rai o atebion, a allwch chi wneud hwn wedyn os chi moyn i cael un personol chi. A ni wedi defnyddio un sydd ddim yn cymryd unrhyw details personol. So it doesn't take any of your personal details, so you are safe in terms of internet and making sure you've got a trusted platform. So, are you a robot, a female, or a male, or other, Meg?
Female.
Female, okay. So let's get calculating. We're going to take into account all those different greenhouse gases and things that we talked about in the last session, the methane, the nitrogen oxides, the carbon dioxides, okay? So we're going to ask you some questions about your home first. Okay. So when you're in the class, in school, you can think about your home. And some of the questions you might know the answers for, some you might not, but you can always discuss these things with your parents as well. So how large is your home? So most of us should be able to answer this. How many bedrooms, Meg?
I have 4 bedrooms in my home.
4 bedrooms. Okay. And what kind of residence is it? Is it single family, a flat, a farmhouse, a mobile home, or a semi-detached?
Mine is a single family detached house.
Detached house, nice. So detached is when it's not a house directly next door. There's kind of a garden or a gap all around the house, if anyone's wondering. So which decade your house was built in? Do you know this, Meg?
I do. It was built, I think, in around 2001.
Oh, 2001. So that's, to me, that feels like quite a recent house, but
yeah.
I'm sure it is. To some of pupils in the class that might not seem that old, but so it was built about 5 years before we started this project. And what heating source does your building use? So we've got lots of options here. So we've got oil, gas, district heating, which I think is like when the council or something is, you've got like a community heating system, a heat pump. So this is using energy from the ground. Biomass, that's using things like trees and firewood, which is a renewable, as is the heat pump, electric heating, solar water heating. Again, that's using kind of energy from the sun to heat your house. So some of those, we talked about before, these two here rather, are kind of, we know, contribute to CO2. But what do you have in your house?
I think in our house we have natural gas, which is
Natural
heating
gas.
our house.
So, I'll try and click on that. It's lighting other things up. Does the building have its own electricity generating system? So, for example, lots of people now are starting to put solar panels on their roof. What about your house?
Yes, we have solar panels on our roof, and they're quite new.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the process of trying to arrange that because it can save a lot of money as well, can't it?
Yes, yeah.
And are you actively trying to reduce your electricity consumption? So, for example, by choosing energy efficient products, turning off lamps, or running washing machines and dishwashers on like eco-friendly settings?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially turning off lights when you're not in the same room, when you finish using things, turning it off at the wall. I think those sort of things can be done at school as well, which is a really nice one for people to look into doing.
Is that something you've always done?
I would say definitely maybe in the last 15 years it's been a thing that I've been more focused on. I think when I was in school it was taught a lot to be mindful of turning things off and
Yeah.
watching what is still running. So I would say it's been a long time of me being in the routine of doing that.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of today is about, really, is kind of changing some of our routines
Mm-hmm.
and understanding how they affect the environment. Um, how many adults live in your house?
So I have 4 adults living in my
Four
house.
adults,
Mm-hmm.
lots of adults. Um, how many children live in the house?
And no children.
No children. Okay. Um, and how many pets live in your house? 1, 2, 3, or no pets?
I don't have any pets, so no pets live in our
Oh,
house.
no pets.
I know. It's very
Oh,
upsetting.
I'd have a cat, a dog, and 2 chickens on mine.
Amazing. Do the chickens live in
Um,
your house? Do they come
no, I
inside?
don't let them in the house because they're a bit
Okay.
messy, but the cat and the dog do come in.
That would be cute though.
And the reason we're asking there about pets is because even you know, having a pet has an impact on the environment. So things like the food you feed your pet has an impact. Um, Cats can have a big impact on local populations, like birds and mice and things. Um, so depending on whether you want your cat to be catching mice and things like that, you can put a bell on it or keep it in the spring in the evening. That can make a big effect as well.
Okay.
Do you have a second property, maybe a weekend cottage or a summer cabin or anything like that, Meg?
No, we don't. No.
No, it'd be nice, but
Yeah, sounds lovely.
it's probably better for your carbon footprint that you
I think
don't
so.
anyway. So that's good in
Yeah.
that sense. Great job. So we've done the bit about your home.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to look at about your travel habits. So this
Okay.
is split between car rides, taxis, flights. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots to think about, I think, in this section. So how many flights do you take per year? So we consider round trips. So perhaps going to Spain and back. That's 2 flights per trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just asking about your personal life, though. I don't think you take many flights at all with work either.
No.
So, domestic flights. So these are flights to a neighbouring country, France, Spain, Germany, that kind of thing. Do you take one trip per year? So a trip is, did they say it was there and back?
I think so.
Yeah. So if you're going basically on one holiday a year, that's kind of one trip a year if it's in a
Mm-hmm.
plane. So what about you, Meg?
I would say maybe 2, but maybe 2 to 3,
Okay, so going on 2 to
just in
3
case.
trips per year. Now,
Mm-hmm.
some might do less. Think
Mm-hmm.
about, so os chi'n meddwl am beth chi'n neud gatre pawb, ydych chi'n mynd mewn awyren ar eich gwyliau. So mae hwn yn un bwysig, actually. So ni'n mynd am 2 to 3 trips per year. For Meg. Flights to other parts of your continent. So these are medium haul flights, so 2 to 6 hours. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking things like going to Egypt, maybe Turkey as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of trips, which are a bit further. How many of those do you think you do a year?
I would maybe put that 1, because it just depends on where it is that I might go.
Yeah, so not that often, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is really long flights, so greater than 6 hours, New Zealand, Thailand,
Mm-hmm.
America, those kind of things. How many of those do you think you do a year?
I don't take trips that long.
Yeah. Okay. But what about your private jet? You didn't mention that one, Meg. Have you got a private jet?
No, I don't have a private jet. No.
Okay. So again, that's great for your carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And I think personally, I try not to have more than one flight a year, but
Mm-hmm.
some years, I might have 2. Um, Obviously, it's great, isn't it, to go on holiday, see different cultures, learn about the world. But I think particularly with those long haul flights, which you're not doing, so that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I might do them, say, every 5 years, something like that, like a big trip that you've got to save up for.
Yeah.
And then the other ones, I do like enjoying holiday in this country because I know it has less of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Also, last year I went to Switzerland, but I went on the train, and that was
Okay.
like a new thing for me. But actually, it was fine. It didn't take much longer, and yeah, it was a nice and different way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always worth just checking some of these things. Sometimes
Yeah.
it can take loads longer to get there, and other times when you factor in traveling to the airport and all those sort of things, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're looking at cars. So how many cars does your household own or lease?
Um, we have 3 cars at home.
3 cars, okay. Oh, we have to
Okay.
go back. I think that's because you've got like 4 adults in the house
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
probably going to different places of work, needing different
Yes.
cars. But we have to say 2. I mean, none of these climate calculators are perfect. It
Mm-hmm.
just gives you a good indication. So something about your cars. Um, so I think this is we'll call it the first car.
Yeah.
So there's a fossil fuel combustion. So that's like your normal kind of petrol car, biogas, ethanol, combustion, that's kind of less used. Hybrids we would have heard of a lot now, plug-in hybrids, and then fully electric. So what's the first car, Meg?
So my car is a petrol, it uses petrol. So we'd put the fossil fuel combustion.
And often petrol cars at the moment are cheaper. And I don't know, is this your first car or your
Yeah.
second car? First car. Yeah, so people often start their first car with a petrol one, but I think that's going to change now in the next couple
Yeah.
of years
To see
as
more electric
electrics.
cars.
You see them
Yeah.
everywhere now, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
When was your car built?
So mine was built, I think, in around 2012. So between, yeah.
2012. Yeah. Okay, so if you think about cars like ones made in the 1950s, for example, there's not many of them around anymore, but they use loads of petrol compared to a car made in the 1980s, and compared to cars made more recently, like your one between 2010 and 2014, because at that point, people were aware of climate change,
Yeah.
also the cost of fuels and things as well, which we hear a lot about in the news, particularly this week.
Yeah.
So, is it a van, a large car, medium car, small?
Mine's a small car.
Small car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and again, the smaller your car, generally, the better it's going to be for the environment. But it depends who you're traveling with. Obviously, if you're a family and there's normally four of you, then you might be better having a bigger car and less cars, and so that's something your parents probably make the decisions on. So, question about your second car then. So the second car, is
Our
it
second one is fully electric.
fully electric? Okay. So that is a great option for reducing climate change. Some people say, no, electric cars, you're still using electricity, which is made in a factory. So how is that making a difference? And it's true, electric cars can be powered by electricity made in factories, but they can also be powered by solar or wind power.
Okay.
And when people look at the life of a car, so compare a petrol car to an electric car, so starting from the build of it right through to the end of the car and it being dismantled and everything and recycled. The electric cars are about a third of the carbon footprint of a normal car. And again, if you're using solar like you are in your house, which will probably be helping to charge that car, then that's even more. So that's why the government has had these big initiatives to get us to go electric. Okay, how many kilometers is the car driven per year?
I definitely don't take many long car trips, so I would say it's under 10,000.
Yeah, so kilometers, obviously, I mean, most of us work in miles. So 1 mile is about 2.5 kilometers or 1.5 kilometers. I can't remember now,
Yeah,
but
about one and a
yeah,
half. Yeah.
1.5, yeah. So that's really good. So you're not driving that much. I know some people, again, depending on their job, will be up in these higher figures. When was this car built? So the electric car. Oh,
That's okay. It was quite a new car, so that one's okay.
I don't know what's happening now. I can't see the back button on my screen.
I think you did press the right one, so if you're
Okay.
happy, I think we're happy to keep going.
Are you part of a car sharing scheme?
No, we aren't.
No. So car sharing schemes, sometimes in schools, especially if you live out in the country, um, parents might pick up children from different families on the way, that's been agreed beforehand before their families, so with their friends normally.
Mhm.
So as a car sharing scheme, sometimes people going to the same work would do that, but you're not part of one. Do you occasionally rent a car?
No, I don't.
No. And what about traveling by taxi? Do you ever go in a taxi?
So I do.
Yeah. And this is a good question. What kind of taxi cars do you use? Electric vehicles, combustion engines, a mix of both?
I would say mine are probably a mix of both.
Yeah. So again, I know when I've been in taxis, I have noticed that most of the taxi drivers these days tend to have electric cars
Mhm.
because they are, for them to run them, they're cheaper.
Mhm.
Um, but that's not something I would necessarily think about when I'm booking it.
Yeah.
So that's something I might start to think about. And then how often do you use a taxi?
I would say per year, I would go with 20 to 30 taxi trips in a whole
20
year.
to 30 taxi
I
trips.
think so.
Okay. Do you ever take a ferry?
No, I don't take a ferry,
No, so
especially
some
not to work.
people might go on holiday on a ferry rather than a plane.
Mhm.
So, like if you're going to France,
Yeah.
taking the ferry is a better option. I imagine some of our Scottish schools perhaps use ferries as, getting around the different islands and things like that. But Meg doesn't take any ferries. What about public transport? Do you ever use public transport?
No, I don't use a lot of public transport at all.
Okay, so we'll go never for that one.
Mhm.
And how often do you go by foot or bicycle? So this could be going to work, walking in your lunch break, that kind of thing.
Mhm. I think not as often as I'd like to, but maybe we'd go 1 to 2 days per week. Um,
1 to 2 days.
mhm.
Okay. And then do you own or lease any of the following? Motorbike?
No,
No.
no,
Scooter or moped?
no.
Oh, surely you've got a motorboat.
Nope, not a motorboat either, unfortunately.
Okay, so we'll
Although I'm
go.
sure that's good for my carbon footprint at
Yeah,
least.
yeah. I know you can kind of hire motorboats and things down Cardiff Bay.
Mhm.
Um, if you wanted to go on a
Yeah.
motorboat, that would be a better way to do it.
Mhm.
Okay, so well done. You've got through part 2 of 3. So thanks again for being really honest with your answers, because
Mhm.
sometimes you kind of feel like you know what's the better answer. I know I do, and I kind of want to say, oh no, I do this well, but it's about being honest. Like I said, sdim un o'n ni eisiau creu problem i'r hinsawdd, ond mae stwff ni'n neud yn creu problemau, so mae'n bwysig bod ni jyst yn edrych ar sut ni'n fyw a ydyn ni'n gallu gwella rhywbeth. Can we improve anything? So this is the bit now. Oh, I've got a horrible mouse that's lighting everything up. So this is the bit now, pupils, where you can kind of maybe have a bit more control over things. So how often do you eat beef or lamb, Meg?
I would say never, almost never.
Almost never. So the reason why this survey is picking up on beef and lamb is because farming can have a big impact on the environment, and obviously in an agricultural country like Wales, that can be quite controversial. But the Welsh, a lot of the farming practices in Wales, because they are on hills, they're not as, they don't create as much methane and CO2. And the Welsh government is working really hard with farmers to do things that can actually really reduce the impact. But as an individual, an easy way to kind of reduce your carbon footprint is perhaps eating less meat, which was that a conscious decision by you, Meg?
I think it's a mixture. There's certain things I don't really like the flavour of. But I think the more I've learnt about different elements of how food can impact the environment, I think that does come into it a little bit as well.
And I've been a vegetarian all my life, so this one's easy for me. And now I've noticed, you've got lots more vegans, and the main reason I think a lot of people are becoming vegan, or perhaps choosing vegan options rather than always choosing meat, is because they're aware of the impact this has on the planet. So it's about perhaps eating meat that's locally sourced, perhaps from Wales, as a treat, a good quality thing, rather than buying lots of cheap kind of meat. So you were almost never.
Yes.
Which is good for your carbon footprint. And how often do you eat a plant-based meal? So meaning meals free from meat, poultry, fish, and seafood.
I would say 4 to 7 days a week.
4 to 7 days a week. So again, that's a pretty good one there. And what portion of your vegetarian diet is fully plant-based? So doesn't contain any eggs or dairy products?
I would say more than half, but not all of it.
More than half, yeah. And do you consciously choose products that are seasonal? So, for example, are you buying strawberries in the winter?
I probably am buying strawberries in the winter, so I would say I don't take enough notice at what I am buying and whether it might be in season or not. So I would say no, I'm not conscious enough.
Okay. But sounds like you do some things, is it?
Yeah, I think when I'm shopping, I go for more of the fresh options. So, looking for things that are sourced locally, especially. But
Yeah.
in terms of being totally aware of what I'm picking, I think I could do more.
Yeah. And with all of these things, it's kind of a balance, and, buying something local is probably, just as good because you're reducing the travel and things like that. But we're looking at all the elements of your daily life now. So you said no, wasn't it? No. And you've answered this one. You
Yeah.
consciously choose products that are locally sourced?
Yeah, I would say that I'm interested in seeing what things are made nearby and buying more of those. So yeah.
Yeah. So for me, things like tomatoes, they don't grow all year,
Mhm.
but for me not to have tomatoes for cooking and everything all year would seem really difficult.
Mhm.
So I make the effort to see if you can buy some that are grown in the UK or
Mhm.
countries that are nearby, um,
Yeah.
as much as I can. And they do cost more, so it's not an option for everyone. So you said yes for this one?
Mhm. Yes.
Make sure I get these right. Do you grow your own food or are you hunting or fishing, Meg?
Unfortunately, we don't grow our own food at home, no, and I don't hunt either, so I
Okay.
would say no to that one.
And what statement best describes your attitude regarding food waste? So I do my utmost. I try to avoid it, but I could do more. To be honest, I don't really think about it.
I would say I do my utmost to avoid food waste, so making sure I'm not throwing anything away that I could still use, and not filling up my plate too much. So I'm actually eating what I know I can eat, so there's not too many leftovers. And if there are, I'll eat them another day rather than throw them out.
That's brilliant. Yeah. I think that's something I'm the same as well. And
Hmm.
again, that used to be more difficult to do, but now it's kind of easier and more mainstream.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's a great one that you're doing there, Meg. So when you do have food waste, so it could be,
Hmm.
the chopped bits of veg that you're not going to
Hmm.
eat, do they go in the general waste bin or do they go in food waste, caddies, or composting?
It would go in the food bin. I'd make sure I separate them from the general waste or recycling bins.
Fantastic. So again, that's something at home, you might think it's your parents' responsibility, but it's actually all of our responsibility to look at that and make sure we're putting things in the right sections. And again, it's just forming that habit.
Hmm.
Okay, palm oil. So we've maybe heard a little bit about palm oil, um, and we know that it causes problems for places like the rainforest. They're kind of being cut down to grow palm oil, which is a cheap raw material. So in some ways, it's great because
Hmm.
um, it's cheap. It's a raw material, but as with many of these things, it's how the thing is being done, and it's being done in a way that they're clearing rainforests. Creatures like orangutans are losing their homes, um, just so we can have kind of like cheapy crackers and cookies
Hmm.
and candy. Do you do your utmost to avoid buying palm oil, or do you try to avoid it, or don't really think about it?
I would say I try to avoid it, but again, I think I could do more by looking at more of the products that I buy and not just the things that I would think it would be in, just to check other things too.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, because it's hard to know sometimes,
hmm.
isn't it? Um,
Yeah.
and but I'd say like if you're buying a product regularly, because
Hmm.
most of us have kind of habits, don't we? We could
Yeah.
look at that. There we are. And then single-use plastic. So obviously in Wales, we've had the carrier bag kind of not banned, but 10p charge for a long time.
Hmm.
Used to see loads of carrier bags floating around and on the floor, and don't really see as many
Hmm.
anymore. They are out there, but not so many. Um, so So using things like plastic bags, plastic bottles, plastic packaging for food, plastic cups and drinking straws, and plastic cutlery. I can't say these things. So what's your thinking on this? Do you do your utmost or try and avoid it or not think about it?
I would say that I do my utmost to avoid using single-use plastics. And if I do have anything like plastic bags, I'll just keep reusing them for the same shopping afterwards.
Yeah, so it's things like having a water bottle that you fill up in the
Hmm.
morning, um, you know, carrying a bag around with you,
Hmm.
um, for when you're shopping. And then there's lots of things in the kitchen that kind of make life easier, and they're single-use
Yeah.
plastics. So even things like wipes can sometimes be full of plastic. So just having a cloth that you wash, or um, straws and all those kinds of things can make a big difference. So you do your utmost.
Hmm.
Fantastic, Meg. And then we're going to look at your shopping. So this is for new things, be it clothes, electronics. So you rarely shop for new things. I shop every now and then. And shopping is important to me. I love buying new things.
I would say I very rarely shop for new things. Yeah,
And
only
is
when
that
I really need it.
is that a kind of environmentally conscious decision?
I think it's a mixture. The more I've learnt about um, overbuying and buying things just for the sake of it and how that affects the environment, the more I don't want to do it. But it's also, I think, just cost effective as well, not to keep overbuying certain things, especially clothes, which I think are tempting to want to keep up with trends with buying
Yeah.
new clothes. But it's more impactful, I think, than people might realize.
Yeah, lots of people use things like Vinted as well now, don't
Hmm.
they? So
Yeah.
they might buy something that they know they're going to wear a couple of times, and then they'll sell it somebody else.
Hmm.
So it's not, and fashion has a huge impact on water usage.
Hmm.
Right, I've just realized the time, so I'm going to speed us up a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay.
Um, so when you're buying, are you going for quality or price? So you prioritize quality or environmental labeling, um, or you sometimes prioritize quality and go for low cost, or just go for low cost.
I would say I'm in the middle, so B. I'll prioritize quality sometimes, but I do also go for low cost sometimes as well. Did you catch that, Dan?
No, I think one of us froze. I think it was me.
Oh,
So
sorry. I just said B.
B.
Yeah, I'm in the middle, I
Okay.
think, with that one.
Second-hand purchases. So which one, when you buy something, is it often second-hand or
I would say I buy secondhand every now and then.
okay, that's a good
Hmm.
mix. And do you give away or sell second-hand items? So do you regularly give away, or do you do it now and again, or just throw them in the bin?
I would say I regularly give them away or sell them or donate them and things like that. So,
Fantastic. And then recycling. So we all know what recycling is. And again, that's something that's become easier over
hmm,
the last 10 years. But do you do it, Meg? Do you recycle?
definitely, yes. I make sure that everything's separated and that I know which is going in what bin. So, I think that's been something I've done for a very long time as well.
Fantastic. And do you offset any of your carbon footprint? So sometimes, like if you book a flight or something, it gives you an option to offset your emissions. So a charity might plant some trees or something like that.
Okay.
Um, do you
I
do
don't
any of
think I
that?
have. I don't think I have in the past, no.
Okay. Right. So the results are in. So I'm going to ask the school now to guess what they think Meg's lifestyle makes her. Is she a climate villain? So she's using more than 10 tonnes or creating more than 10 tonnes of carbon per year. Is she a climate consumer? 5 to 10 tonnes. A climate friend, 2 to 5, or a climate hero, less than 2 tonnes.
We'll see.
I don't know if Ysgol Gynradd
Oh, here we
Llandegfan.
are.
Oh, yeah. C.
See, okay.
Oh, they think you're a
Hopefully.
climate friend. What do you think you might be?
I think it might be between B and C.
Yeah.
Mostly because of my travel routine. I think that might take me down a little bit.
And obviously, we all want to look like that climate hero in the picture.
Absolutely, that is the goal.
And that would be using less than 2 tonnes or creating less than 2 tonnes of CO2 per person by 2030. So we've got what we're going to do now is just have a quick look and see. So you're a climate consumer, so 6.7 tonnes. So you're nearing climate friend.
Okay.
So we'll just have a little look at what this recommends you could improve. So it's saying at home, it's about 2 tonnes. Travel is your highest. Okay. So we're going to look at some of these. So do you think you could switch to a climate friendly heating source?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about your flights? Could you look at perhaps getting a ferry sometimes, or having one less flight a year and things like that?
Taking more holidays locally as well.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So this is, I think, because it's aimed at America, they call it domestic flights, but these kind of really short flights, frequently, could you take less of them and maybe get a train sometimes?
Yeah.
And we talked about the car, didn't we? So you've got one environmentally friendly car. Do you think your next car could be an electric one?
I think so. Yeah, hopefully we can look into it.
What about when you're booking a taxi? I know some apps will tell you, I think, what sort of car someone's got.
Yeah.
Is that something you could do?
Yeah, be more aware of who I'm booking.
And do you think you could commit to kind of walking more?
I think so. Yeah. Something I'd like to be able to do, definitely.
Eat more plant-based food?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these aim to eat seasonally, it's suggesting.
Yeah.
Composting. Do you think you could compost at home?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And do more to pick out those palm oil-free products. And then it's things like when you're buying furniture or utensils and things, look at perhaps not always just going for the plastic option. And then shopping more circular. So this is buying more secondhand items.
Yeah.
So these are all kind of areas that is suggesting you could change. But we're going to ni'n mynd i mynd nôl nawr at y presentation ni. A ni'n mynd i edrych ar... so nôl i Cymraeg nawr. Cymraeg brain arno. So, oedd lot o pethau fyna, a i newid lot o pethau yn gallu fod yn galed, mae gallu teimlo bach yn overwhelming weithiau. So, be sy'n really bwysig yw edrych ar un peth sy'n gallu gwneud gwahaniaeth mawr, a wedyn wneud y ddewid, wneud pledge i wneud yn siŵr bod chi'n wneud y peth hynny. So, dwi'n mynd i dangos i chi nawr rai o pledges personol o staff yr amgueddfa, a nes i danfon pledge mas dros e-bost. So, gobeithio bod hwnna da chi yn y dosbarth mewn papur neu yn electronic, a byddwn ni'n mynd trwyddo fe gyda Meg a gofyn i chi wneud e hefyd. Ond yn gyntaf, dwi'n mynd i dangos... Oops. Beth sy'n digwydd ma... chwarae fideo hyn.
Here at Amgueddfa Cymru, we're taking part in the first ever Carbon Literacy Action Day. We've been rolling out carbon literacy training across the organisation, and over 100 staff have already become accredited. Here are just some of the amazing pledges that staff have actually made.
Dwi'n addo i leihau y gres sydd yn cael ei colli y troed drysau yn yr amgueddfa Lleng Rufeinig.
I pledged to switch to a green energy tariff, so I've changed my energy provider and I'm using renewable electricity and carbon offsetting for my gas usage.
The Addewid yw helpu codi ymwybyddiaeth drwy hyfforddi mwy o staff Amgueddfa Cymru i cwblhau'r cwrs llythrennedd.
My personal pledge is to reduce my carbon footprint, is to reduce my digital output by managing my emails and electronic filing, and thereby reduce energy on the server.
My pledge is to properly insulate our roof so that we use less energy in our house in the winter.
Dwi'n mynd i wneud mwy o deithio actif, sef cerdded i'r gwaith a seiclo weld ffrindiau.
Our pledge is that the companies we use for cloud storage will have firm plans in place to become carbon neutral.
Dwi'n mynd i gynllunio yn wythnos o ran bwyta yn well a bod yn fwy ystyrol wrth siopa.
I pledge to engage and inform local communities using our social media platforms.
Ar garfa dyrnod gweithredu llwybennydd carbon, dwi'n addo datblygu a darparu hyfforddiant llwybennydd carbon o draws Amgueddfa Cymru.
My carbon literacy pledge has been to create a bicycle repair facility to encourage people to visit the museum.
For Carbon Literacy Action Day, I pledge to upgrade my windows to energy-efficient triple glazing.
Fy ddewid i yw hyrwyddo llythrennedd carbon gyda'r bobl ifanc dyn ni'n gweithio gyda nhw.
For Carbon Literacy Action Day, I pledge to improve the energy efficiency of my home and ensure that my family live in the most energy efficient way possible.
Dwi'n addo hybu'r deunydd o nwyddau cynhaliol I adeiladu fel rhan o'n gwaith dehongli.
For my pledge, I'm going to be turning off all of my digital devices and appliances at home during the night. This includes things like my Wi-Fi router and the clock on my oven.
OK, so chi'n gweld y syniad fyna. Dyna'r pobl yn yr amgueddfa sydd wedi creu y ddewid neu pledge. So, be dwi angen chi wneud nawr yw edrych ar creu a ddewid personol. So, gobeithio chi gyd yn y dosbarth gyda'r template yma hyn. A dwi mynd i gofyn cwestiynau Meg, a os allwch chi hefyd meddwl am y ddewid chi. So, just mynd at hwn. So, newidiwch eich hinsawdd, gwneud a ddewid personol. So, Meg, dwi wedi rhoi enw chi mewn yn barod. Ond wrth edrych ar y pledge yna ar y calculator yna ar rai o pethau. Beth i chi'n meddwl yw rhywbeth chi'n gallu newid a allwch chi sticio at i helpu'r amgylchedd?
Wel, dwi'n credu, wrth edrych ar y canlyniadau, mae fy trafnidiaeth fi fel mynd i gwaith, neu mynd siopa, neu mynd i gweld ffrindiau. Dyna ble dwi'n falle cwmpo lawr tipyn bach. So, dwi eisiau falle defnyddio mwy o bysiau fel public transport, neu cerdded mwy hefyd i ardaloedd sydd yn hawdd i cerdded i. So falle llefydd mwy lleol.
So, cerdded mwy. So, addewid dda fyna. A wrth gwrs, os gyda'r addewid hyn, mae'n helpu'r planed, ond bydde fe'n helpu ti fel person hefyd, ti'n meddwl?
Dwi'n meddwl falle hefyd mae'n gwneud fi i teimlo mwy o fel awareness o beth sy'n digwydd o gwmpas fi, a wrth i fi wneud un newid, falle mae'n mynd i gwneud i fi gwneud mwy o newidiadau wedyn. Like once you learn about one thing, you might start to open up about more things. So,
Yeah.
a hefyd mae cerdded yn rhywbeth neis i wneud, yn enwedig pryd mae tywydd yn neis. So, yn rhywbeth dyle pawb gwneud mwy o.
Mae'n gallu bod yn dda i physical health a mental health. So, bydd e'n ddiddorol i gweld pryd chi yn wneud hwn, os mae yn effeithio ar mannau eraill o'ch bywyd hefyd, nid jyst yr amgylchedd. So, nawr ar y darn, dwi eisiau pawb i meddwl am pam mae hwn yn bwysig. So, pam mae cerdded yn bwysig ar gyfer yr amgylchedd?
Wel, bydd e'n lleihau fy nwyon tŷ gwydyr, fy all-tried carbon, just trwy defnyddio llai o fy nghar, i fod yn onest, a bod ar y bws gyda pobl arall sydd i gyd yn dod ar un bus, on the same bus. So, we're not all using individual cars, mae pawb yn yr un lle. A wedyn, be dych chi wedi dweud hefyd, mae'n mynd i helpu i cerdded mwy just am health and well-being, pethau fel yna hefyd. So,
dwi wedi camsyllafu fan hyn. So, ar y quiz, hwn oedd y darn fwyaf chi, os dwi'n cofio'n iawn. So, bydd e'n effeithiol i lleihau ôl troed chi. So, mae'n un dda i ddechrau gyda. Nawr, ni wedi bod yn siarad am newid beth ni'n wneud, yn gallu bod yn galed. So, ni wedi creu fel traciwr i chi gallu checo bod chi yn wneud hwn. So, os yna rhywbeth all ysbrydoli, os unrhyw beth fydd yn helpu chi i wneud hwn, sut byddwch chi'n cadw ato fe?
Dwi'n meddwl bydd rhaid i fi edrych ar amserlen bws mwyn cynllunio fy trafnidiaeth yn well. To kind of work out where I'm going and what time I need to be there. So cynllunio.
Cynllunio.
Os i'n meddwl yw'r un mwyaf. A wedyn falle gyda mwyn cerdded mwy, cynllunio routes sydd yn diogel a neis i cerdded o gwmpas hefyd. Hynna'n bwysig i meddwl amdan wrth chi cerdded hefyd.
A i cael bach o routine, os yna rhyw dydd yr wythnos fydd yn haws i chi mynd ar bws?
Dwi'n credu mai ar diwedd yr wythnos yn mwy hawdd i fi defnyddio bws neu cerdded. So, i just ail-greu routine bach gwahanol.
So yn eich dosbarth, allwch chi gorffen hwn wedyn. So newn ni just mynd nôl at hwn. So mae'r amser wedi mynd tymor bach, sori am na. So na I just sôn nawr am beth mae'r amgueddfa yn wneud. So ni wedi wneud lot ar draws Cymru yn ein wahanol amgueddfeydd i leihau ein whole carbon. A ni wedi lleihau faint o ynni ni'n defnyddio tua hanner dros y 10 mlynedd diwetha. So mae hwnna wedi bod yn effaith fawr, ond y pethau bach i ni'n wneud, so yn amgueddfa Blaned, maen nhw'n defnyddio lliwiau sydd wedi wneud o planhigion, dim lliwiau cymegol i lliwio'n glân. Yn Abertawe, mae ganddo ni gardd mawr sydd yn rhoi bwyd i'r caffi ac yn cael ei rannu gyda rai o'r gwirfoddolwyr sydd yn byw yn lleol. Yn Amgueddfa Caerdydd, y gwaith maen nhw'n wneud, tebyg i gwaith i chi'n wneud gyda Broject Bylbiau, maen nhw'n ymchwilio effaith newid amgylcheddol ar blanhigion a anifeiliaid. Yn Saint Fagan, i ni'n edrych ar y hen tai yma a adeiladau a edrych ar y ffurfiau cynaliadau, y sustainable ways of building, a gweld os ni'n gallu defnyddio rheini yn tai newydd. Ac hyd yn oed yn Big Pit, so yn Big Pit mae ganddyn nhw lot o paneli solar a maen nhw yn y 2 neu 3 flwyddyn nesaf bydden nhw'n defnyddio ond egni renewable. Ond hefyd maen nhw wedi gadael, mae yna hen tip yna, sef lle oedd y glo wedi cael ei, a stwff wrth cael glo mas o'r pridd wedi cael ei dwmpo. A maen nhw wedi gadael hwnna i mynd at natur a nawr mae lot o anifeiliaid prin iawn wedi dod i byw yna. So yn olaf, ni'n mynd i sôn am y her tîm yma, a hwn yw rhywbeth chi'n gallu wneud yn eich ysgol chi. So yn tebyg i fel ni wedi edrych ar bywyd meg, allwch chi yn yr ysgol edrych ar bywyd yr ysgol. Os yna pethau allwch chi newid yn yr ysgol neu y pethau chi'n wneud yn yr ysgol i fod yn fwy cynaliadwy. A hwn yw rhywbeth i chi meddwl amdano a hoffwn ni os ych chi yn meddwl amdano fe ac yn gweithio dy gilydd i creu her tîm i gwybod yn ôl beth i chi wedi wneud. So mae hwn gyd yn pecyn hwn, sef pecyn newydd ni, newid eich hinsawdd, a mae lot o wybodaeth yn hwnna a bydd Meg yn rhoi hwnna yn y chat wedyn. A wedyn ni gorffen bant, gobeithio chi'n cofio ni sôn am y cystadleuaeth enwi blodyn newydd ni. So wnaeth y blodyn cael ei tyfu gyda fferm esger. A gathon ni loads o enwau gwych, ond yr un mwyaf poblogaidd oedd yr un gan Mountain Lane Primary School, a enw newydd y blodyn yw Seren y Gwanwyn. So mae hwnna'n really great bod ganddyn ni bydd fe'n Narcissus Seren y Gwanwyn, a gobeithio byddwn ni'n gweld y daffodil hyn yn dechrau dod ar draws y wlad. A allwch chi cofio bod chi plant Broject Bylbiau wedi enwi hwn. Dwi'n gwybod bod chi wedi rhoi enwau wahanol mewn falle, ond fel proses hwn oedd yr un mwy o poblogaidd. So diolch i chi gyd. Sori am mynd 5 munud ar draws, bai fi yw hynny. A diolch yn fawr i Ysgol Gynradd Llandegfan am y waith i chi gyd yn wneud gyda'r bylbiau, tyfu, edrych ar y tymheredd, etc. A hefyd am dod i gyd o'r sesiynau hyn. So diolch yn fawr, a hwyl fawr wrth fi, a hwyl fawr wrth Meg.
Ie, hwyl fawr pawb. Diolch.